All right, so much has happened and been said over the past 24 hours. So I'm gonna go over them one by one, starting with the summary of yesterday's injunction case. Something that I didn't quite mention in yesterday's video. Maybe I have, but just to reiterate. And then Ador made a statement, right? And then NJZ PR account, made a statement both in Korean and English. And NewJeans NJZ official channel made a statement statement or message to quote unquote fans, the bunnies, through their Instagram story. And then Time released an article, a full-length interview article with NewJeans, and they even released a video on their channel. And we're gonna look over like public sentiments, and then we're gonna take a visit to Reddit page, and then we're gonna read some comments made on Korean articles. Spoiler alert: I think the Korean general public, has now really turned against NewJeans completely. Am I happy about that? I don't know, because when the Korean public turns against you, they could become really nasty, and I hate it when people get like overtly nasty. And the thing is, Minijin has achieved what she planned for, right? She's completely hidden from this instance. Do I believe that NewJeans members should be held responsible? Yes, to a certain extent. But now the public is generally angered against NewJeans members. I wish a portion of such anger and frustration is directed at Minijin. So we'll see how many of these comments mention Minijin at all. Okay. All right. So let's start here. The court decision. With the court ruling in favor of Ador, the nearly year-long NewJeans dispute has reached a turning point. NewJeans members and former Ador CEO Minijin had unilaterally declared the termination of their exclusive contracts and pursued independent activities, claiming Ador was at fault. However, the court has now ruled that the exclusive contracts between NewJeans and Ador remain valid. As a result, attention is now focused on whether the group will return to Ador and how they will proceed from here. On March 21st, the Seoul Central District Court Civil Division 50 granted Ador's injunction request against NewJeans members, prohibiting them from signing advertising deals or conducting entertainment activities without the agency. With this decision, NewJeans must return to Ador, and independent or third-party activities are now prohibited. We all know that, right? And here's some more details. In the ruling, the court rejected most of the claims NewJeans had presented as justification for terminating their contracts. Regarding the demand for Minijin's reinstatement, the court determined that Ador has sufficient capability to hire a replacement producer and that Minijin's role as CEO was not a condition of the exclusive contract. Very true. The court also dismissed concerns over HYBE CEO Park Ji-won's past remarks about giving members extended leave, stating they could not be interpreted as a ban on entertainment activities. Of course, as opposed to what NewJeans side has said over and over and over again. And by the way, it's Park Ji-won is a former CEO. He has been replaced by Lee Jae-sang. The court also stated that the phrase "scrap new and start afresh" (new 버리고) found in HYBE's music industry report could not be viewed as an intent to abandon NewJeans, especially considering the many suggestions in the document related to NewJeans' success. It found that Eyelet's concept could not be considered a clear case of plagiarism, nor is its group's concept something easily protected under intellectual property law. A request from HYBE's PR staff to revise NewJeans' album sales figures was also seen as a factual correction relevant to stock value, not as defamation or disrespect toward the group. On the matter of the outsourced music video production involving director Shin Woo-seok of Dolphin Kidnappers, the court ruled that a dispute between him and Ador, who was not a party to the exclusive contract, did not constitute a serious breach of Ador's obligations under the contract. regarding the ignore incident in which member Hani claimed to have been dismissed by a manager from Islet or staff member from Islet. The court concluded it was difficult to confirm the remark had actually been made. There you go. They just said that. Furthermore, footage showed 3 Islet members greeting Hani at the time, weakening the basis for that claim. The court also found that additional claims raised during the trial, once not included in formal correction requests, could not be considered valid grounds for terminating the contract due to breach of obligations. So one by one, the court said, nope, NewJeans, you guys, we hear what you're saying, but that's not enough for you to terminate the contract. And here's a list of the reasons that NewJeans cited for contract termination. 11 of them. The dismissal of Ador CEO Minijin resulting in a production gap. HYBE CEO Park Ji-won's comment about giving members like Kim Min-ji an extended break. The dispute between Ador and director Shin Woo-seok, Dolphin Kidnappers. The phrase scrap new and start fresh in HYBE's music industry report from 2003, May 10th. Islet's alleged infringement on NewJeans' originality and attempt to replace them. Hani being told ignore it by a manager from Belief Lab. Leaked photos and videos of trainees, including Kim Min-ji, a HYBE PR representative, allegedly belittling NewJeans' achievements. HYBE's alleged practice of stockpiling albums, which supposedly hurt NewJeans' performance. HYBE and Ador allegedly launching a retaliatory audit against Minijin, damaging NewJeans' public image. HYBE's CSO Lee Jae-sung allegedly saying we're considering tanking NewJeans' brand value to take down both Minijin and the group. And the court basically said nope to all of these reasons. Which is why a lot of people consider this decision to be a signal that Minijin and NewJeans side will lose all the cases that they're waiting in the future, right? They have like more than 10 of them, especially Minijin. So yeah, lots of people consider this as a groundbreaking decision in terms of the year-long. Is it a year-long? Yes, it's almost a year-long battle between HYBE and Minijin / NewJeans. All right, so Ador made a brief statement after the court decision yesterday. Here's an official statement. Hello, this is Ador. We are deeply grateful for the court's wise decision regarding the injunction. Now that Ador's legal status as NewJeans' agency has been confirmed, we are committed to fulfilling our responsibilities and supporting the artist moving forward. We also plan to fully support NewJeans' appearance at Complex Con this weekend, where they will perform under the name of Ador's NewJeans. There you go. Still Ador's IP, HYBE's IP. We sincerely hope to meet with the members soon and have an open, honest conversation. Wow, I'm excited about that. We kindly ask for your continued support and warm encouragement as NewJeans begins to grow again, this time together with Ador. Thank you. So, yeah, that's a correct move to be made by Ador and correct thing to be said by Ador. Interesting how they're saying that they're going to support NewJeans for the Complex concert in Hong Kong, which they'll be performing under their original name, NewJeans. Now, what about NewJeans side? First of all, let's take a look at this message to bunnies made by NJZ official channel. Everything's going to be okay, bunnies. I know it's not easy, but I hope you can let your heart rest a little today and get some good sleep or relaxation. I've also been a bit all over the place while preparing for this stage, and I feel really sorry that I haven't been able to take care of you, bunnies, the way I wanted to lately. I've had so many thoughts, especially trying to stay strong, but it hasn't been easy to communicate with you as comfortably as before, and thinking from your perspective, I know it must have been really tough. I'm worried you might still be having a hard time. I wish I could give each of you a hug or comfort you directly, but I'm sorry that all I can do is write this message. You, cry, cry. You're the ones who have stayed by our side and cheered for us endlessly more than anyone else. I know it hasn't been easy, but because of you, the 5 of us have grown stronger and we'll keep getting stronger. This isn't the end. We can't see the future, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen, so I can't say for sure, but the day after tomorrow, the 5 of us will give it everything we've got. As much as we have worked hard, As much as we wanted to perform and as much as we missed bunnies, we'll put on a stage that's more fun than anyone else's. So don't be too sad. Let's all enjoy our Sunday stage together with happiness. In the end, we all came together because of music. Let's spend this time with no regrets, believing we'll return to where we belong. Our bunnies, you're truly amazing and so precious to the five of us. That's what they said. Now, first part. I think they added this portion because lately there's been some issue going on X among the Korean bunnies, those who are still remaining as their fans, because some fans got frustrated over NewJeans' behaviors. You know, they've been dying to wanting to see them like performing, I don't know, some sort of challenges, you know, like whether on YouTube Shorts or Instagram or TikTok or something, you know, something like music related or dance related, performance related. But all they see is them like participating in events, including Jennie's concert, and that has been written into articles. So some fans express frustration, but of course, those fans who support NewJeans unconditionally and who believe Minijin as part of the group have attacked those fans who have expressed frustration, and they're like falling apart. I think that's why they've added this portion in the very beginning. So that's what NewJeans members supposedly said, whoever's running this account. What about the parents, or NJZ PR rather? They've uploaded statements both in Korean and English. So I'll read the English portion directly. Hello, this is NJZ, and then I'll talk about what I think about this statement. Today, the court rendered a decision regarding the injunction. NJZ respects. Wow, they're still using the name NJZ. I just noticed. Sorry, I had to laugh. Respects the court's ruling. So you respect the court's ruling, but you're still using the name NJZ. However, we believe that the decision did not fully take into account the complete breakdown of trust the members have experienced toward Ador. Okay. Due to the urgent nature of injunction proceedings, the decision was issued approximately 2 weeks after the March 7, 2025 hearing. As such, we did not have sufficient opportunity to fully present the factual background to the court. Really? Additionally, due to an imbalance of information, Ador and HYBE have full access to all information regarding the members' entertainment activities, whereas the members have been forced to individually contact relevant parties to request information. The pressure of being involved in a lawsuit, along with fears of retaliation, also prevented many from cooperating. I can hear some of you fast forwarding because you cannot stand hearing about these statements, but I'm gonna continue on. We plan to challenge today's decision through the objection procedure, during which we will raise additional legal issues and submit further supporting evidence. Above all, until the point the exclusive contracts were terminated, we had diligently fulfilled out obligations without any wrongdoing. In contrast, Ador and HYBE behind the scenes continued to treat us unfairly and unequally, ultimately destroying the relationship of trust. It is only a matter of time before the truth becomes clear. Wow, they really said this. It is only a matter of time before the truth becomes clear. Boom. It is important to note that an injunction is a provisional measure. A separate main lawsuit regarding the validity of the exclusive contract termination is currently underway, with the court hearing scheduled for April 3rd. Unlike injunction proceedings, the main lawsuit allows us to freely utilize civil procedure tools to collect necessary evidence. We anticipate this will greatly reinforce our claims. It's not over yet. They have one more page. Though we are going through a very difficult time, we remain calm and strong, always thinking of our fans who continue to support NJZ and the bunnies. Fans who continue to support NJZ and the bunnies? NJZ values its promise with fans above all else, and we will devote ourselves to the remaining legal process so that we may once again connect with you with genuine joy. As we have stated before, regardless of any financial matters, we can no longer remain with the management that has disrespected our identities and undermined our achievements. So it sounds like they might be ready to pay fines. The reason we are pursuing this legal action is to protect our dignity and rights. Meanwhile, after much deliberation, we have decided to participate in the upcoming Complex Con scheduled for March 23rd. This decision was made out of respect for our fans and all stakeholders involved in order to prevent unnecessary disruption or harm to those who have been looking forward to the performance. We sincerely ask for your continued support and encouragement as we move forward. All right, so what do you guys think? First of all, the statement opens by saying that they respect the court's decision, but then it immediately pivots to undermining it, right? They claim that the ruling failed to consider the full extent of the breakdown in trust between the members and Ador. But the court made clear in its written decision that it did consider the claim and found the evidence insufficient. The court even stated that it was the responsibility of the party claiming the trust was irreparably broken. In this case, the NewJeans members, to provide convincing proof, and they failed to do so. So, suggesting the court overlooked this key point misrepresents the legal reasoning behind the decision. Another problematic element is the implication that the process was rushed and that the members were disadvantaged due to information asymmetry. I mean, it's true that injunction procedures are meant to be quick, but both sides had the opportunity to present their arguments. I mean, they had Shin and Kim, which is one of the major law firms in Korea, with them on their side. So, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, because they did present evidence, and Ador, of course, presented evidence too, and some of which the court referenced in the ruling. But NJZ and their legal... Okay, so Ador presented actual evidence and receipts, while NewJeans and their legal team appear to have relied more on narrative than documented facts, right? They literally said that eyelid members attacked NewJeans. That was one of the most ridiculous things that I've noticed from that legal battle. Like Shin and Sejong law firm saying that on behalf of NewJeans. So the court didn't deny NewJeans a voice, right? It simply wasn't persuaded by the claims presented by NewJeans. So framing this as a matter of unfair access or lack of time feels more like deflection than a legitimate procedure concern. The statement also continues to paint Ador and HYBE as abusive or retaliatory forces, while portraying the members as victims fighting for their rights and dignity. But the court just found no clear contractual violations by Ador or HYBE and no sustained failure to correct behavior upon request. In fact, the court noted that Ador had fulfilled its obligations in most areas. Like claims of discrimination and mistreatment have been asserted without concrete and corroborated evidence, which is exactly what the court requires, especially when the matter concerns something as serious as like terminating, nullifying a contract, Also, the tone of the statement suggests the members are currently fighting for their human rights, which is kind of related to what we were about to talk about while reading the Time article, but not just a contract dispute, Like emotional appeals may resonate with some fans, although I can see that like lots of fans who are still remaining as bunnies are now leaving. But in the legal arena, arguments must be based on evidence and facts. Like the court has not ruled on the main lawsuit yet, but it's like clear rejection of the contract termination arguments in the injunction ruling sets a strong precedent. Like that can't be dismissed simply by reiterating emotional language about dignity and values. Like dignity and values. That's two words that they mention. And the decision to participate in the upcoming concert is presented as a gesture to protect fans. But it's somewhat contradictory as well, because if NewJeans truly believes that Ador and HYBE have treated them with such hostility and that the contract is void, then agreeing to perform under the name NewJeans, while simultaneously challenging the validity of the contract they supposedly terminated, might send mixed messages. So it risks looking less like a moral stand and more like selective engagement or something. So, I feel like the statement attempts to maintain a tone of calm professionalism and victimhood, but it yet again selectively frames facts and contradicts court findings and relies heavily on emotional appeals rather than legal clarity. So this is what they have been doing over and over again. It's written more for public sympathy than legal credibility. And we have to remember this woman while talking about all these things. All right, then what about the Time article and the Time interview piece? I'm not going to play this whole thing, but basically in the video, NewJeans presents themselves as victims of this powerful system, saying they couldn't speak out properly because HYBE allegedly controls the Korean media. And we all know how not true that is, based on what we have experienced and witnessed last year, and to some extent still today. But the irony is that they've been extremely vocal through multiple media channels, and now a major international platform like Time. So this narrative of being silenced just doesn't hold up when they're simultaneously gaining global coverage to share their side. And on the Korean side, I included the names of the Korean media who have actively voiced their opinions on behalf of them in my song called Tampering, right? KBS, CBS, 한겨레, and 경향, and more. And Channel A, of course. Also, they accuse HYBE and Ador of not treating artists as human beings, saying companies view them as products. So they said that. And then they insist that they had no reason to stay with Ador, saying there's no must for us. But of course, under Korean law, that's not how contracts work. The court emphasized that just feeling unhappy doesn't automatically justify terminating a contract. There must be a legal basis, such as breach of contract or failure of duty, and the court found those reasons weren't proven. Right? I think we should stop here and read the article itself. What about the comments? Why don't you report on an actual mistreatment case like KG of Vicha is currently happening with accusations of secret cameras in dorms, eating disorders, on and on and on. Okay, saying that Time should report on other matters. It is troubling to see Time disregard journalistic impartiality in its coverage of the NewJeans controversy. The court explicitly prohibited the use of NJZ as a team name and ruled against their independent activities. Yet Time's narrative seems to embolden such actions rather than respect legal decisions. Interesting. Moreover, framing NewJeans as victims of the K-pop system ignores their privileged position as beneficiaries of major agency resources, while countless trainees and lesser-known idols face genuine systematic hardships without similar opportunities. Time should reflect on its role as a global media outlet and strive for balanced reporting instead of sensationalism that undermines its credibility. Well said. American media are so lazy. There's a bigger story, but you just want to go with the tired and old K-pop is bad narrative. Okay, K-pop is bad. Go cover MHA influencing fans to bully Le Sserafim outlet. Yunjin of Le Sserafim read all the hate comments sent to her by bunnies. Go interview her. Time. I think it's just written by a Korean user. I used to believe these kids were manipulated by Minijin or by their parents alone, but that stance has changed. These girls now know exactly what they're doing. Them invoking the idea of being the victim is truly disgusting and selfish in their part. Politically, left-leaning media would... Okay, I think I will skip that part. Obviously portray them as a victim of the system, which is completely false. Actually, yeah, to some extent, that's true with Minjudang Party as well. Because, the fact that Hani was able to speak during the National Assembly audits was because basically the Minjudang Party invited her to speak. Right? Whole situation is sad, really, because I really do like their music and the girls. You can never judge someone by their looks or by age in this case. Please do your research, Time Magazine. The judge did not agree to these unsubstantiated claims, so be careful. Yeah, well said. But they wrote this full-length article titled, Why K-pop group NewJeans or NJZ is brazenly taking on an industry giant. And let me tell you, this article has caused a lot of articles to be published in Korea, and that has angered the Korean public. Why? We'll find out. The year 2024 written by Chad Gosman. Based in the Singapore Bureau. The year 2024 left K-pop idol Lee Hae-in, in a word, confused. In just months, she and her bandmates in NewJeans went from being one of the industry's biggest selling acts to a group of renegade artists in a controversial dispute with the label they abruptly left. Some people would conveniently switch their perspective, treating me as a kid when it suited them and then expecting me to act like an adult when it was more convenient for them, said Hae, 16, through an interpreter during a video interview with Time in early March. It was really tough. Definitely one of the hardest times for me. Last November, Hae, along with bandmates Minji, Daniel, Hyerin, and Hani, unilaterally terminated their contract with former label and management company Ador, the firm behind BTS, a subsidiary of K-pop juggernaut HYBE, the firm behind BTS. It was a rare revolt that sent jitters across the South Korean entertainment industry, as the group's members have accused their former label of unfair treatment, discrimination, and workplace harassment, all of which Ador has denied. Does this article mention Minijin at all? Okay, once. Wow, really? Once? Wow. Okay. They are really putting NewJeans at the forefront instead of highlighting the influence of Minijin. That is, not surprising, actually. To everyone's surprise, in February, the members, who are all under 21, revealed they have taken on a different group name, NJZ, with the performance comeback set for March 23rd at the Complex Con Festival in Hong Kong. Hae-in says in Korean that nothing about the group has fundamentally changed, but in rebranding as NJZ, we now have greater creative freedom and a broader artistic scope. I'm really looking forward to their performance that they're going to pull off today at in Hong Kong at Complex Con. Yeah, let's see what they have in their pockets. But none of this has come without hurdles. Since their debut in August 2022, the group, standing out among its peers for their vibe reminiscent of 2000s era music and fashion, has churned out hit after hit with songs like, is it like a promotion piece or something? They also earned a Guinness World Record for streams and became a go-to ambassador for some of the world's top brands. I should put a parenthesis here, with the help of HYBE, from Coca-Cola to Apple to the Powerpuff Girls. And with the help of influence, made by BTS, I would put another parenthesis there. The separation from Ador stands to hurt the firm, as the industry at large reels from 2024's flagging worldwide sales of K-pop albums. When they left in November, HYBE lost almost $500 million in market cap. So Ador filed an injunction at a Seoul court in January, First, to bar the five from taking on a new promotional activities without the management company, and then expanded that demand the following month after the group's rebranding to include a ban on new music releases and international performances. Just days before their performance, the court granted the preliminary. I'm gonna skip this because we all know this. In an exclusive statement to Time, the five said they were disappointed in the court decision, but added that they didn't expect the issues in the K-pop industry to change overnight. Alright, so from here on, we're gonna see them attacking not only HYBE, but K-pop industry as a whole, and even Korea as a nation. Compared to everything we've been through so far, this is just another step in our journey, they said. Maybe this is just the current reality in Korea. There we go. They just said it. But that's exactly why we believe change and growth are necessary. It almost feels like Korea wants to turn us into revolutionaries. This line was turned into headlines by multiple journalists, and that's exactly what has frustrated and angered the general public, the GP in Korea right now. The past year has been rough for K-pop. On top of weak worldwide sales, the NJZ controversy, while the most prominent, was far from the only scandal rocking the South Korean entertainment industry. From BTS member, wow, okay, they mentioned this, Suga's drink driving incident, to SM Entertainment's firing of former NCT member Tail after the male idol faced charges of sexual assault. Did they really say these two things in one sentence, same sentence? The NewJeans controversy was first made public in April 2024 when HYBE said it would audit Ador, then under Minijin, the producer of NewJeans. HYBE was concerned over rumors that Min was trying to poach NewJeans away from HYBE. In turn, Min accused HYBE of undermining and damaging the group, even roping in other groups. Okay, so they did mention her by the name Min. Damaging the group, even roping in other girl groups under the company in her claims. This came to a head in August when Min stepped down as CEO. The five members broke their silence in a surprise live stream that was later deleted, demanding Min's reinstatement and alleging a toxic work environment at HYBE, which they called an inhumane company. But of course, they failed to mention what Dispatch has found out, that Minijin was behind the live stream. Kane had good words to say about their former CEO Min. She was like a shield, protecting us from a lot of the difficulties we're now facing. Okay, I cannot help but show this Kakao Talk conversation, how Minijin mentioned that she would like to murder them if they don't acknowledge her at the award ceremony. And she says that they're not artists at all. They don't know the message. They don't even know how to lose weight. But of course, they will still describe her as a shield, protecting us from a lot of difficulties we're now facing. K-pop has, for many years, faced accusations of agencies failing to treat their employees and artists with sensitivity. The industry is further plagued by the high incidence of idol suicides and grueling work conditions required for success. Some idols have broken free from their labels for a greater share of independence and a little more breathing room. There's just a very structural problem in K-pop in general, where companies don't really view their artists as actual human beings and rather see them as products. Hani said, wow. She said it. There you go. I mean, all right, here's the thing. K-pop used to have lots of problems, and it still does. In fact, Korea has lots of problems. But do NewJeans members have a right to talk about this? In the current, in relation to their current situation, where companies don't really view their artists as actual human beings and rather see them as products. NJZ's accusations of mistreatment in particular have been raised multiple times. The group's legal representatives pointed to some instances in an email to Time. These include claims that a high PR representative called a local reporter to downplay the group's achievements, that a manager allegedly ordered members of another band to ignore Honey as the latter greeted them, blah, 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 media manipulation, blah, blah, blah. During the group's interview with Time, Minja also pointed to how HYBE tried to stop them from wearing memorial ribbons to honor victims of the December, blah, 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 blah. So it sounds like, so far, Time is just being their platform to raise their voice. In October, Hani faced South Korea's lawmakers. Okay, this is another summary. I'm going to skip it. Oh, quote, I wonder if there was more I could have done. Fans filing a petition, issuing the controversial reason that under the law, artists aren't legally classified as workers. Feeling backed into a corner, the quintet set a press conference. We did not predict any of this was going to happen. Minji, who had strong words for chairperson Bang in the November press conference, told Time in Korean. Okay. Since our debut, we have faced so many obstacles and interference from them, and only now are we finally able to speak about it. In the middle of a conversation, Danielle breaks into tears. There are probably so many situations similar to ours. Let me tell you, not really. There's no one in K-pop history, I don't think, who have made 5 billion Korean won in their first year since debut, each member. It's truly heartbreaking to think that, and still decide to do all these things on behalf of this person. It's truly heartbreaking to think that anyone would have to go through a situation like this. And if you remember, this is not the first time they're saying this. Like, everything they're saying in this article is nothing new. But it is frustrating to hear the same thing over and over again, like a broken radio piece. Where are we? A separate hearing on the validity of the Five's contract with Ador, which is set to expire in 2025, is scheduled for April 3rd. Ador invested, blah, blah, blah. All right, Ador, in a statement to Time, said that their aim is not to hinder the artists' careers, but to ensure that they can continue their activities under our existing contractual agreements. But damage to agencies is not what NJZ's legal representatives are seeking with the favorable ruling, only for the Five to break free from unfair constraints they say their previous label has set and to be able to pursue their music independently. It will not have any negative impact on other entertainment companies or artists, they said in their email to Time. Okay, really? If a company has fulfilled its contractual obligations and properly protected its artists, there will be no grounds for the artist to win a lawsuit against them. Minji, in particular, tells Time that their demands from HYBE and Ador weren't anything extraordinary or unreasonable. Legal experts have expressed varying opinions as to what the outcome could be. Korean newspaper 한국일보 cites one lawyer who believes HYBE's reported plan to abandon NewJeans makes for a strong case on the group's behalf to unilaterally end its contract, while another says there may not be sufficient grounds for such a termination. NJZ could lose a lot of money if it loses in court, experts say. The penalty for breaching their contract with Ador could go up to 620 billion Korean won, around $420 million US. Ador, in a statement to Time, said that it regrets the escalation of this matter to court and said that any misunderstandings which it blamed on the label's previous management, that is, this woman, can be fully addressed and resolved upon the members' return to the label. But the relationship between NJZ and Ador may be beyond repair, given how the group is taking on business matters on its own. Hani disputed rumors that they have signed with a new label, but says, "We are looking for an agency to help us, a third party to help us in between to communicate with other people." They're also putting all their efforts into what their comeback will look like. As NewJeans, the five members became known for exuding a Y2K vibe in their music and fashion. But as NJZ, they're saying they have more room to experiment. Oh, like that Y2K vibe is not something that they wanted to do, like what Minijin was going after. They held off on saying how exactly they would change things up, with Danielle saying fans will have to find out by watching their Hong Kong performance live. We wanted to be like, bam, like just in that moment. Question, should I react to their performance if it's available? Like honest reaction? Legal issues aside, the five got excited and jittery while speaking about what's to come for their craft as they fight for their independence and creative freedom. They also expressed gratitude to the fans, whom they still call bunnies, and to their families who have backed them throughout the feud. At first, when this situation happened, my initial thought was, why does this have to happen to me? I would love to ask the same question. Why does this have to happen to you? Minji says of their ordeal, but now I realize, this is very frustrating, that I have grown through this experience and have met so many incredible people along the way. Back in 2023, Honey told Time that it would be hard to predict the future of K-pop. Less than 2 years later, she says she didn't expect to be at the heart of K-pop's latest workplace-related controversy. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. Daniel echoes, adding that it was not the group's intention to be embroiled in such a mess, but she regarded their ordeal as an important experience for themselves as artists. And while the outcome could have far-reaching consequences, Honey and the girls are choosing not to worry about what those might be right now. If it changes the K-pop industry, it does. If it doesn't, it just won't, and that's what it will be. Whether it changes the K-pop industry or not, I think we are really proud of ourselves. Well, first, what I noticed is that this article frames NewJeans as a group of these young artists taking a brave stand against an oppressive K-pop system, right? I don't know. Is this like a powerful narrative, you think? The one that would resonate easily with international readers, like in Western media circles, you think? Let me know what you think. But like this perspective conflicts sharply with the actual court ruling, which clearly found that NewJeans had not provided sufficient evidence to justify breaking their exclusive contract with Ador. In fact, the court ruled that Ador fulfilled its obligations and that the trust breakdown claimed by NewJeans was not convincingly proven. Despite this, the article continues to present the group's claims, like discrimination, mistreatment, suppression of artistic freedom, as though they're uncontested facts. For example, statements from members like HYBE didn't treat us like humans or something, or Korea wants to turn us into revolutionaries, are reported without offering meaningful legal or contextual pushback, So the piece does cite Ador's denial of wrongdoing, right? They have received their own statements. But there's a clear imbalance between the emotional depth given to the group's perspective and the limited space given to counter-arguments or objective findings. And what's particularly misleading, I feel like, is how the article positions NewJeans' legal stance. They claim that if a company has met its obligations, the artist wouldn't win a lawsuit, and that their lawsuit won't negatively impact the industry. But this is not legally sound logic. If NewJeans' claims were to be accepted, it would set a precedent that artists could just walk away from valid contracts based on feelings of mistreatments, even without hard evidence. And that's precisely what the court is trying to prevent here. Right? The article mentions the potential industry backlash and investor concern, but doesn't critically engage with the implications. And of course, the article leans heavily into the members' emotional experiences, like tears, frustration, and fear, while presenting Ador and HYBE as corporate entities who failed to communicate at best and at worst suppressed artistic identity. But once again, the court noted that Ador not only continued to support NewJeans, but invested over 21 billion Korean won in launching them and had already paid out more than 12 billion Korean won in settlements. So these are not signs of a company treating its artists like disposable products. And also, Time repeats several of NewJeans' claims as fact or near fact, such as being blocked from wearing memorial ribbons or being ordered to ignore Honey without confirming whether these claims were verified or upheld by the court, which weren't. It also fails to point out that NewJeans' involvement, which is central to the tampering allegations, is essentially brushed aside, despite being a core reason that Ador took legal action. Also, finally, NewJeans says they don't intend to hurt the industry, but they're pursuing a lawsuit that could, if successful, undermine legal protections for K-pop agencies who invest millions in training and debuting groups. So the article doesn't critically examine this contradiction or explore the long-term consequences of that precedent. So, let me know what you think about this article. Now, let's see what the Korean audience thinks of this article. Or should we look at international audience opinions first on Reddit? There are probably so many situations similar to ours, she says. It's truly heartbreaking to think that anyone would have to go through a situation like this. I'm getting a bit sick of being gaslit by Danielle. Narcissists always try to play a victim. It is called Darvo, deny truth, attack others. Eyelid Lesravim. Reverse victim. Now after all the bullying, NJ wants to play a victim. These privileged, rich bullies are getting too good at manipulating people, just like their mother. They're learning fast. And their mother, they're referring to NewJeans. NewJeans is acting like they've been appointed to be the Jones of Arc for every idol that's been abused by their music label. It's infuriating that they're cosplaying Korean revolutionists when all they want is to be free to work with NewJeans. But if they did it would downplay real issues. You know what's actually heartbreaking? Being sexually assaulted by your CEO and having the general public completely forget about you because of petty drama. Justice forgotten. Okay, so some people mention other artists. Or not getting paid for 6 years and only being able to talk about it when you realize the dream is dead and it's time to let your group and K-pop career that you work for since middle school go. All right, so I could read on. I will attach a link to this page in the description so you can read for yourself. All right, moving on to Korean audience. This article is called NewJeans says, we respect the court but tells time. NewJeans says, we respect the court, but they tell time we're disappointed. This is the reality of Korea. That's the title. Let's read some top comments. 뉴진상. 진상 is like a word or expression you would use to describe someone who's frustratingly rude. LOL. Do they think the world revolves around them? This is the reality of Korea? Don't insult young people in Korea who are following the law and honoring their contracts. Just leave already. Do they think the law is some kind of joke? That bright, refreshing image from attention is long gone. All that's left is bitterness or evil. Why is NewJeans staying silent? Say something. How is this any different from what 50/50 CEO did to ruin them? 뉴진상 again, slang for someone, whiny or difficult. They've made a huge mistake. Regardless of whether the contract termination succeeds, it will be hard for them to continue their careers now. So what now? You want a US court to rule instead? Are you Americans or what? You made your fame through K-pop and now you say you hate Korea? Even with a valid contract, these girls claim they lost trust because their CEO got fired and now want to go independent. They got 20 billion won invested into them and over 5 billion won each in payouts. Enough with the whining. You're just contract violators. You have become sacrificial pawns for NewJeans, and now your idol careers are on the decline. It's sad, your songs and performances were good, but if idols think they can bend contracts however they want, companies won't invest anymore, and the K-pop industry will just suffer. I wanted to support them just as artists, but their recent behavior is sketchy. That's not Korea's reality. That's just your own reality. There are so many girl groups who can replace you now. Let's see how long you can stay this arrogant. I don't want to see them anymore. I was one of the people who really supported NewJeans among all girl groups, but making over 5 billion won each in such a short time and still acting like this, I'm really disappointed. Do they think the law is a joke? Now we've got, I'm gonna skip that part. What's the point of a contract if no one's going to honor it? Try living by the rules. Okay, so that was this article. Now, let me remind you, the reason why I'm reading these Korean comments is because I have heard over and over again from my subscribers or users how the Korean general audience, general public is still being manipulated by NewJeans / Minijin and their fandom. But this just shows that, the GP is now against NewJeans, which is a bit... I don't know how I feel about that because, once again, I get frustrated when the Korean, the general public, all of a sudden, goes crazy about dissing and attacking someone because they could become really nasty, all while forgetting about this woman. Although I see some comments mentioning her name. Now, majority of them are attacking NewJeans members. Not that NewJeans members should not be held responsible, but we gotta remember this person. So I'm gonna bring up her photo or her remarks in my video still in the future. All right, moving on. This article. NewJeans, disappointed by the court's ruling. Feels like Korea wants to turn us into revolutionaries. Revolutionaries. 혁명가. Do companies run on air? If everyone just leaves as soon as they become famous, then who's left to do the hard work behind the scenes? These kids still have baby fat on their heads, and they're talking about revolution. Pathetic. Just because you can shaking your hips and make some noise, you think you're above it all. In a few years, you'll be in the papers for marrying some dude and then again for getting divorced. What a joke. Okay, so that's a bit harsh. LOL. Revolutionaries? Get real. Have they lived their whole lives in the idol bubble? They seem totally disconnected from reality, just like those delusional fanboys with inflated egos. Who even cares about you at this point? The language is actually harsher when spoken in Korean. All right, moving on. This article, NewJeans' response to court injunction. We're disappointed. Only one comment here. Do they not understand what happens when you break the law? Where are the parents? Is Minijin and the lawyers just pushing them to go on? The lawyers get paid either way, and Minijin can just run away. But no one will be there to clean up after them. In just a year or two, their money and fame will vanish. Don't they realize that? You can't solve this with emotion. A contract must be honored. In a free democracy, contracts come first. If you want rights, you must follow the law. If they keep breaking the law, they'll just lose. Parents guide them properly, or pay the penalty and leave. A company isn't a charity. They made 5 billion won each, and now they think they're invincible. But money disappears fast, and if they mess up, they'll be broke. The company invested over 20 billion, and they already received 25 billion? What kind of math is that? Please, parents, stop listening to Minijin's lawyers and do the right thing. This is sincere advice. Well, so this reminds me of this thought that I've been having is that those people, in a few weeks or months, we will realize that those people who have consistently criticized Minijin and NewJeans over the past few months, while the general public has forgotten about them or even supported them, are the ones who actually really respect them and care about them and concerned about them. Because those people have been advising through comments or raising voices to NewJeans members to stop following and listening to Minijin. That's actually bad for you guys. And like respect the contracts and do the right thing. Because even though those people might have sounded like critical at the time, compared to some of the comments to be made by the general public, language-wise, it's nothing in harshness, I believe. And because the general public could sound like they're, I mean, you know what has happened to some artists in the past, including your faves. So that might happen to NewJeans members soon, which is sad. All right, one more thing, last article. Which one is this? NewJeans, we're disappointed in the court. Feels like Korea wants to turn us into revolutionaries. What kind of revolutionaries? You broke a contract. These girls are hopeless. Fine, you're right. Go start a revolution and create a country where contracts are just worthless scraps of paper. Huh. So, there you go. I feel like many commenters are just frustrated with what they see as immaturity, entitlement, and lack of accountability from the members. And the mention of being revolutionaries was especially ridiculed, with users saying things like, you're not victims of injustice, you just broke a contract. And there's also a strong sentiment that NewJeans is being manipulated by Minijin and lawyers while disrespecting the legal process, the court's decision, and the country that supported their rise to stardom. And some people are still sympathetic to the members as these young artists caught in a power struggle, but the dominant tone is honor your contract or pay the penalty. This is not how the industry or law works. So, what do you guys think? Well, for now, we'll see how well they will perform at the Complex Con in Hong Kong. I just saw an article how they've departed from the airport, Incheon Airport probably, but they successfully evaded the reporters and journalists who tried their best to talk to them or take photos of them. But all right, if there's any updates, I'll follow up. But let me know what you guys think. But as always, as I have mentioned again and again for the past several months, ever since the launching of this channel, let's stay positive and respectful and classy. Thank you guys. Peace and love. Bye-bye.